speak up better. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Right, okay. Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, I'm audible. And then I see that there are some missing here. We have only 1, 2, 3, 4 students. Maybe that last time that we couldn't do the lecture and they have forgotten because the link was sent very kind of a few minutes ago. Will you be able to, now you're on a WhatsApp group, no? Can you put a message asking the others to join?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. And if you can give a ring cut in the WhatsApp group also, they will actually see that after putting the message, give a ring cut.
Yeah, sure.
Group call, like, ring cut. Then they will actually check it now. Otherwise, only very few, out of 8 or 9, there are only 4 people.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. They will join, I guess.
Yeah. We'll give them 1 or 2 minutes, right? Last time I joined, but actually my laptop got stuck. I couldn't fix it.
Oh, that's
Because of that only that I actually got the institute to inform you all. I was trying. Anyway, I joined, then after that only it happened. Then my cursor was not moving. Nothing could be done. Right. Did you put the message?
Yeah, ma'am.
Give a group call, ring cut. Okay. You don't have to actually wait for them to answer. Then they will actually check messages now. Give another 1 or 2 minutes. Did I give you anything last time that come prepared to talk on about or whatever?
No, ma'am.
Nothing, no? So last time I finished Vygotsky's socio-cultural theory of learning. Am I right?
We discussed Bandura's social.
Bandura and Vygotsky both, right?
Yeah.
So did we start get?
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry, there was a connection issue. Now I think more or less people have joined. I'm actually opening my PowerPoint. Then I'm looking at this information processing theory. How are you all?
Doing
I
good.
want to hear from you. How are you all?
You?
Okay. Today you all have to speak up, dear, because my headset is not working. Last time, I'm very sorry, I joined, then my laptop got stuck, so I had no way of conducting the lecture. So I wanted the institute to inform you that I'm not available. So welcome back to the module, and we are still in learning theories. So we have discussed under this learning, that unit, we have discussed what is learning by looking at Woolf's definition. And then we looked at learning theories. We looked at 3 learning theories belonging to behaviorism, classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and Thorndike's laws of learning. And then we looked at socio-cultural learning theories, Vygotsky and Bandura. And today we are going to look at cognitive learning theory, that is information processing theory by Gagné. I can't actually remember whether I actually started this. Who remembers? Did I start information processing theory by Gagné?
No, ma'am, we didn't start.
No, right, okay. So we are still in learning. So this is the last theory, or yes, maybe the last or one before the last theory that we are going to discuss. Gagné is the name of the educational psychologist. Gagné's information processing theory of learning. Okay, he belongs to cognitive school of thought. You know the 4 major schools of thought. Am I audible or too loud?
Audible, ma'am.
Am I too loud?
No, it's fine.
It's fine. No, right. Okay. So then, now, Gagné belongs to cognitivism. Gagné belongs to cognitivism. So, according to cognitivists, learning is a kind of matter of our internal mental processes, sensations, perceptions, attention, memory, problem solving, logical thinking. Because of that process only, the learning happens, right? So that is cognitive school of thought. Internal mental capacities, learning depends on that, okay? With that, we are looking at Gagné's information processing theory from the cognitive school of thought. Here you can see Gagné. According to Gagné, right? According to Gagné, our brain, if not our internal mental capacities to learn, can be compared to a computer. Can be compared to a computer. Now you know how computer processes information. You know how the computer processes information. Similarly, in learning, according to Gagné, we also process information. So there's an analogy, there's a comparison, right? Our mind to a computer, right? So he says, the brain receives information, record it, mold it, and store it. You can see I have put it here. Let me put it on what kind of PowerPoint mode. Where is it? Here upon that. Yeah. He says our brains receive information, record it, mold it, and store it. Learning is what is happening when our brains receive information, record it, mold it, and store it. So this is nothing new to you. There's nothing new to you because we have already done cognition. They are sensation, perception, attention, memory, all these are discussed. So cognition, how the process of cognition, cognitive process, if that is actually referred to as learning, how it works by gag, because they are from cognitive school of thought. So processing information in 3 stages: encoding, collecting, and representing information; storage, holding information; retrieval, obtaining the information when needed; and control process that determines how information will flow through the system. So there's nothing new when it comes to Gagne's information processing theory. And he compares our mind, our brain, our mind actually to a computer, and how the computer, right, receives information, record it, and mold it and store it. Similar thing happens with our mind, with our brain in learning. Okay. So are you new to this or you're aware of this information processing model? I want you to talk now. Are you new to this or you know already? You already know this. Please talk. Today you all are angry or hungry. What?
It's new, ma'am.
How come? Is this new? Didn't we do this in cognition? Didn't we do this in cognition?
We did, ma'am.
Stimuli from the 5 sensors, sensory memory, 3 to 7 units duration, and then working memory or the short-term memory, working memory or the short-term memory, 7 to 9 times magic number 7. Didn't we discuss? Please talk, will you?
We did, ma'am.
Kata karanda, please. I'm looking at the class. Gishani, did we do that cognition? Am I connected? Can you hear me?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am, can hear you.
Yes, madam. We can hear you, madam.
Yeah, then Mama Ahanne, I'm asking you, this one, did we discuss this under cognition? Yes or no? Stage
Yes,
model
ma'am.
of memory. Working memory is the short-term memory. Did we discuss that? I don't know whether I have actually. Huh? මම මේක කරාද නැද්ද කියලා මට verify මට කියන්න confirm කරන්න. I thought that I have done this under cognition.
No, ma'am. Can't remember that we did.
කරේ නැහැ. Can't remember වෙන්නේ නැති. කාටවත් මතක නැද්ද චන්න? Stage model of memory කියලා අපි කරේ නැද්ද? සල්මා
Madam,
Memory
විදානගේ
kata
Madam,
kara,
we
madam.
did.
We discussed.
we did that no පුතා. I think it's the same
Yeah.
thing. බලන්න මේක දැක්ක ගමන් මතක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. I think more or less the same thing that I showed you. Stimuli means the sensory organs, sensory input. So they receive, they enter the sensory memory. Capacity is limited, duration is limited, attention not paid, they are forgotten. If they are actually attention paid, then they enter the working memory or the short-term memory. So the magic number 7 is the capacity. and then the duration is limited. Then rehearse. If rehearsed, what happens? They are sent to the long-term memory. If it is sent to the long-term memory, it is forever. Are you permanent and infinite? Then the types of memories. Didn't we discuss? If we have not discussed, I can discuss it again. But in cognition, this is covered. But උත්තරය දෙන්න හරියට, please. We have done the same as this. Shara, thank you. Why can't Sarah speak to me then? Right, okay. So, because according to cognitive psychologists, learning is the cognitive process. So, Gagny, being a cognitive psychologist, compare our mind to a computer and say how the computer processes information. The same way, human beings also process information and then learning occurs. So he discussed this information processing model, which is very much similar to the stage model of memory. Matamara upset because you can't remember anything, sir. Then I feel like that you all don't study, or if not, the background noise will disturb the class. That's why. Which background noise? Shara, which background noise from my end? Yours. Right, okay. Shara's is my background is okay. I got that, Shara. Okay, it's good. This is done. Okay, so it's the same thing. How our cognition works, that is learning. So because of that, we can actually, apart from this information processing model, we can actually talk about 3 components of Gagny's information processing theory. Are you all listening, Puta?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. In my
Yes.
case,
So
ma'am, I'm
3
still coming on the
components
way. That's
of
why.
Channa.
Yeah, ma'am. Still, I'm coming on the way. That's why I couldn't reply more.
Talk
But
to
I'm
you.
listening,
Talk
ma'am.
to
Yeah,
us.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still on
Okay,
your way
thank you.
home, or you're back now?
Yeah, on my way, ma'am. It will take another 1
Sorry?
hour to reach.
It will take another 1 hour.
Yeah, ma'am.
Right. Okay. Understand.
Yeah,
Right.
ma'am.
You're taking public transport or you're driving?
Public transport, ma'am. Here, there are
Public.
trains. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Now here, the 3 components of Gagny's information processing theory. Now, you know the basic or the foundation I laid. Gagny is a cognitive psychologist. So for cognitive psychologists, learning is a matter of cognitive process. So Gagny says our mind works like a computer. How the computer processes information, that is how our mind also processes information. Acquiring information, storing information, retaining information, and retrieving information for problem solving. So that part we have previously also discussed. Now here, the rest of the theory. The rest of the theory, according to Gagny, we have to look at 3 components of Gagny's information processing theory. 3 components of Gagny's information processing theory. What are the 3 components of Gagny's information processing theory? I make it bigger now. The first component, a taxonomy of learning outcomes. You can make notes while listening. Now, the Gagny is the psychologist. His learning theory is the information processing theory. According to Gagny, our mind works like a computer. So learning is our cognitive process, how it works. We already know that. And apart from that, we are looking at 3 components of Gagny's information processing theory. The 3 components are, you can look at the taxonomy of learning outcomes, conditions of learning, and 9 events of instruction. I repeat, taxonomy of learning outcomes, conditions of learning, and 9 events of instruction. So you can actually get insights, lots of insights to facilitate learning and teaching process. Okay. So we'll first look at the first component. What is the first component? I'm asking you, then I know that you're listening. What's the first component? Here, taxonomy of. What's the first component?
Taxonomy of learning outcomes.
Taxonomy of learning outcomes. Second component, conditions of learning. Third component, 9 events of instruction. But anyway, we'll first look at the taxonomy of learning outcomes. Do you know what is meant by learning outcomes? Do you know what is meant by learning outcomes? Yes, the nether. I want you to talk, otherwise difficult, no? Do you know what is meant by learning outcomes? I asked you a question, I'm waiting for your response.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I continue or can I stop? You don't respond. Do you know what is meant by learning outcomes? If you don't know, you tell. I explain. What is it?
Madam, please explain it for a
I
moment.
can.
Outcome objectives, ma'am.
Aha. Mehemai. Yes, you're correct. Learning outcomes කියලා කියන්නේ what the students will be able to do at the end of a lesson. I repeat, what the students will be able to do at the end of the lesson, they are the learning outcomes. I repeat, what your learner will be able to do at the ඔගොල්ලෝ ලියා ගන්න ඒවා කියනකොට තේරෙන්නේ නැත්තම්. ඒතර මතක ඉන්නවා තේරෙනවා. Learning outcome එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ what the learner would be able to do at the end of the lesson. Okay, they are learning outcomes. Put a Gagni's first component in the information processing theory. Okay, in the information processing theory, Gagni's first component. According to Gagni, there are 3 main learning outcomes. They belong to cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. Taxonomy of learning outcomes, what the students will be able to do at the end of your teaching as a result of learning, they actually belong to 3 domains. The 3 domains are cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. So cognitive domain is knowledge related. Cognitive domain, knowledge related. Affective domain, attitudes related. And psychomotor domain, skills related. Skills related. So if not, you can say 3H here. 3H. First H for head, knowledge, cognitive. Second H for heart, affective, attitudes. Then third H for hand, that is skills, right? Hand or skills or psychomotor. That is enough. I'm not going to actually explain it further because you don't respond. I don't know whether you understand. So if it is too difficult, if you can easily understand,
Understood.
I can actually explain it further. It's all right to continue in the same, to go deeper into that component. But I'm telling you again, Gagny talks about 3 components in the information processing theory of learning. We are now talking about the taxonomy of learning outcomes. Learning outcomes means what the learner will be able to do at the end of the session as a result of learning. According to Gagny, there are 3 domains that you have to actually relate the learning outcomes to. The students will be able to do not only knowledge-related things, but attitudes and skills-related development also should be seen. Learning should be seen because they learn not only knowledge, but also skills and attitudes. You can remember the Woolfolk definition. So because of that, he says there are 3 domains: cognitive, we refer to it as knowledge or head; affective, we refer to it as heart or attitudes; and then psychomotor, we refer to it as skills or hand. Is it understood, Pute? Can you all respond to me? Otherwise, I might feel
Yes,
very bad,
madam.
no?
Yes.
Yes, others?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for your response. Okay. Then we go to the second component. Second component of Gagny is conditions of learning. Okay, conditions of learning. We look at this. According to Gagny, learning to happen. Right? If you want as the teacher to learning to take place, learning to happen, if learning to occur, right? You all have to make available 2 conditions. There are 2 conditions that you have to fulfill in order to make learning take place. If as the teacher you want your students to learn, you all have to fulfill 2 conditions. What are those 2 conditions? Can one of you read? I'm
Internal
taking the arrow in. Very
external
good.
conditions.
Very good. Internal conditions and external conditions. Internal conditions, external conditions. I will first discuss external conditions. External conditions tamai all the stimuli that you make available for the students to facilitate learning. External means everything not within the learner is external. Everything not within the learner is external. So everything externally provided, they are external conditions. So what are external conditions? Teacher herself or himself is an external conditions for learning. Materials, textbooks, activities, group activities, peers, feedback, rewards, visual aids,
Visual aids.
blackboard. Huh?
Visual
What is
aids.
it? Put? Visual
Visual
aids, yes. Lesson plan, everything that you actually
Environment.
do.
Environment.
Environment in the classroom, very good,
Madam,
very
what
good.
about the assignments?
Yeah,
Environment.
assignments, activities, all external to the learner, they are the external conditions. We all know teachers go prepared with all that. Am I right? When you walk into
Yes,
the
ma'am.
classroom, you have the lesson
Yes.
plan with you.
Yes.
You have some visual aids, activities, materials. You're teaching them and you give them pair work, group work. You use the blackboard, all external conditions. Assignments, as you said, yeah. But what we neglect is the internal conditions. What we neglect is the internal conditions. So what is meant by internal conditions? What is within the learner? What is within the learner? What is within the learner? Which is needed for learning?
Situation of the child. Situation of the child.
Okay. You think the mind of the child or something.
Yes, madam.
Right. Yeah, you are in a way right. But according to Gagniputta, prior knowledge, existing knowledge, I repeat, prior knowledge, existing knowledge, that is the internal conditions. Okay? Internal conditions, the prior knowledge or the existing knowledge. Because for cognitive psychologists, learners are not empty vessels. Behaviorists think they are empty vessels. But cognitive psychologists, they don't think that the learners are empty vessels. They have existing knowledge. They have prior knowledge. So what prior knowledge is needed? What prior knowledge is needed for them to engage in new learning? You have to make sure that it is available. It's a condition. I will give you an example, then you will understand it better. Now, for example, English language teacher, today you want to teach them simple present tense. How to form the simple present tense verb in active voice. S form or base form. And you think, what are the internal conditions needed for this? For the learner to actually learn the today's lesson simple present tense. S form or base form. Then you know the grammar rules for putting the verb into singular. S, ES, cut Y and add IES, like that you have grammar rules. They already know that. They already know that. And that is a condition needed for them to actually write simple present tense active sentences. Mala speaks, Mala, the bird flies, like that. So you're not going to actually, it's a pre-learn, it's an existing knowledge. And you have to recall it and make them actually ready for the today's lesson, because in the today's lesson, they will write the S form or the base form, but putting the verb into S, that grammar rule already they know, that condition is needed for them to learn the today's lesson. It's a facilitation. I will give you another example from mathematics, okay? Now it's a grade 5 class. You give them a kind of a sum like this. I have 10 apples. My mother gave me another 2. I ate 1. I gave 2 to my sister. How many are remaining? So you know that they should know they are adding and subtraction. Then only that they can do this sum. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll read what is given here and then look at another example. So who can read? I will put it on this PowerPoint mode. Who can read what is given in this page under conditions of learning, internal conditions and external conditions needed? ඒවා fulfill වුණොත් තමයි ළමයා ඉගෙන ගන්න. අපි මේ learning ගැන ඉගෙන ගන්න. According to Gagni, you have to fulfill these 2 conditions in the classroom for the learner to learn. So let's see what this means. Can one of you read? Can one of you read?
Conditions of learning. Gagne 1985 describes two different types of conditions in learning, internal and external. Capabilities that already exist in a learner before any new learning begins make up the internal conditions necessary for learning. These internal conditions are transformed during the learning process. External conditions include different stimulus that exist outside the learner, such as the environment, the teacher, and the learning situation. This means that each new learning situation begins from a different point of prior learning and will consist of a different external situation depending on the learner and on the learning environment. Therefore, the useful prototypes of learning by association described next are delineated by internal and external learning conditions.
Okay, now thank you for reading. Is it clear to you?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of this when you walk into the classroom for some teaching for them to learn? Now, maybe that you all think of external conditions, but hardly you think of internal conditions. What existing knowledge is there in the learner for them to learn the new information, new knowledge. So that, of course, is very important. For example, if the students do not know they are adding, you can't teach them, you can't get them to learn to do a sum like that, how many apples remain. If the students do not know the rules for putting the verb into S form, you can't get them to actually write simple present tense singular sentences because they will struggle with the S form rules. So you actually, today you're not teaching S form, today teaching simple present tense sentence, verb formation. So you have to know it's a prior learning. You get my point?
Yes, madam.
So that is GAGME. So the second component, conditions of learning. So we get back to GAGME's information processing theory. There are three components: taxonomy of learning outcomes. That is what the students will be able to do at the end of the lesson as a result of teaching. What they have learned, they should belong to three domains, not only cognitive domain or knowledge related or head related. There are other two as well: attitude or affective or heart, psychomotor, skills or hand. Okay, you have to cater to all the three domains in your teaching. Their learning should be in three domains. Second one is conditions of learning. It's there, you have to fulfill two conditions for the effective learning to happen. The two conditions are internal and external conditions. External conditions, that is not what is within the learner, but everything not within the learner, like the teacher, the lesson plan, the peers, activities, assignments, everything. But internal conditions also very important. So the teachers have to make sure that you all actually fulfill that condition as well. That means what kind of prior learning is important for them to learn the new knowledge. So for that, not everything that they know, what is exactly relevant to what you're going to teach today. So as I gave you example in simple present tense S form, rules of S form is needed for them to actually write this simple present tense sentences. So that is prior learning, what is needed. Mathematics, if you give them a sum like how many remaining, So they need to know their adding and subtraction. Then only that they will be able to do that. So can you give me another example of internal conditions from the subject that you teach? One of you. Refer to a subject, refer to the subject that you teach and give me an example of internal conditions as I gave the two examples in the sum and the present simple. Let's see who will talk. It doesn't matter. If you go wrong, it doesn't matter. But give it a try, Puta.
Madam, when we
Give it a
consider
try.
about living things and non-living things,
Okay, yes.
yeah, madam. When we consider about the science, living things and non-living things.
Oh yeah, what is the internal conditions needed there? Now we are going to teach them living things and non-living things in your environmental studies or science.
Yes.
What is the subject to the environmental studies or science?
Yeah,
Your
madam.
exam-
Then they should know the that mean what are the that
No, be very clear. Now,
sorry,
now I
madam.
told you English, I told you maths. Now, what is your subject now? Science, the environmental studies. ඔයා මේ example එක
Environmental
දෙන්නේ
studies.
environmental studies. හරි. එතකොට ඔයාගේ topic එක මොකද්ද? Living things and non-living things. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, madam.
එතකොට මොකද්ද ඕන වෙන internal condition එක මොකද්ද? ඒ කියන්නේ prior learning එක මොකද්ද මේක new knowledge එක ඉගෙන ගන්න. ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඕන වෙන prior knowledge එක මොකද්ද?
How do they identify the living things? Am I correct?
That is what I'm thinking of. Now, your new knowledge is distinguishing between living things and non-living things in your environmental studies lesson. So you're going to teach this as a new lesson. Am I right? Yeah.
Then that means they should know the what. Yeah.
So for them to learn this, what kind of existing knowledge or prior learning is helpful or needed? මොනවද ඕන වෙන්නේ? That is what you have to think of as prior
asking internal
conditions needed. මොනව ගැන දැනුමක්ද යාලට තියෙන්න ඕනේ මේක
functions of
අවබෝධ
the
කරගන්න.
living things.
What are living things? What are non-living things in our environment first? So they all know what has life, what do not have life. So you will ask them, right? You will give them a set of things.
They
Animals,
should identify the living
birds.
things, no, madam.
Right.
No,
that is prior
existing knowledge, no?
Yeah, that is existing knowledge. So you can actually give them a set of, you can give them a name list. Trees, animals, human beings, then rivers, then you can say stones, rocks, sand, like that. Then you ask them to put them into two. What has life, what does not have life. That is prior knowledge. Then you can see, now you have to tell me what are the characteristics of living things, what are the characteristics of non-living things. So that prior knowledge, this has life, this does not have life, that is helpful in learning the today's new knowledge. So you are correct there. The only thing is your explanation was not very clear to me. Your example is right. Okay? Okay? Is there anybody else? When you're not responding, it's very difficult for me. I don't know.
Madam.
Because
Hello. Madam,
Yes,
when I
please,
teach
Sulochana.
English lesson, so I want to teach past tense, right? So I think
Simple past.
yeah,
Simple past. Okay,
simple
very good.
past tense. So first, internal conditions, they already know the regular verbs and irregular verbs.
Very good.
Okay, after that, I want to teach how they apply them into the sentence. So I ask
Very
what are
good.
the regular verbs and what are the irregular verbs. Then
Very good.
I teach the grammar. That means what is the method of the past tense.
Very
This is
good.
the-
You're correct there. A very good example.
Thank
Right.
you. ma'am.
Now you have understood that. Okay. So if they have actually forgotten, if they have actually uh, 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 don't know this, then today's simple past lesson, you can't teach it properly. They can't grasp it properly because they have no idea about the ed or past tense verb, regular and irregular. Sing sang, they don't know it, they can't remember. So it's actually a requirement, condition. They have to know that for them to actually construct simple past sentences. Very good, a very good example. Both of you gave very good examples. So I think that you have understood that
Thank you.
also. So hereafter, when you walk into the classroom, it's not only external conditions that you actually fulfill. You have to fulfill the internal conditions as well. Suppose some of your students are very weak, they don't remember anything. So, but you can't teach the whole thing because it's not your today's lesson also. Because in 40 minutes, you have to cover your lesson. So lesson is simple past tense. Construct simple past tense sentence. So you can't teach past tense verb, regular and irregular on that particular day. Maybe there are, out of 40, there are 2 students, those can't remember. So what you can do is, you can do a small, actually we call it engagement activity. Okay, you can do a small activity for 2-3 minutes. Those who remember that, they come and do it on the board as a whole class. And those who have forgotten that, they actually, that is recall, right? 2-3 minutes you spend on that, recalling that prior knowledge. This is needed in understanding the today's lesson for those who have forgotten or may be like that. You got my point?
Yes, madam.
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
madam.
Then will we go to the, thank you for responding. Otherwise, it's difficult, Buddha, right? Because we don't see each other. It's all online. So I don't know whether you're listening. I don't know whether you all can hear me properly. If you really don't respond, okay? Then you look at the third
Sometimes,
component.
madam, your words are dragging. That's it, because of loss of signals.
Yeah, madam.
Sometimes. And sometimes your words are dragging. So yeah, sometimes you are not audible for us. So I can't give the answers well, madam. Sometimes.
That's the
That's
problem.
it.
No? Today there's a
Yeah.
connection issue, no? There's a connection issue today, right?
Yes, madam.
Here again it's
Dragging.
here again it's going.
So can I actually use my hotspot? Let's see. I'm using my dongle right now. Can I use my hotspot and see?
Okay, ma'am.
This is okay now. I can continue, no? This is okay, right?
Okay, madam.
All right. If it is really bad, you tell me. Huh? Then we are now looking at the third component. Uta, but before going to the third component, I want you to study on regular basis, lot of content. You can't just beat about the book. You can't just think and write. You have to study and write. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Anit subjects wage නෙමෙයි. Anit subjects wage නෙවෙයි. If it is some other subject, you can just think and write something. Here it's not like that. Psychology, you have to study because they have their concepts, they have their terminology. You can't beat about the bush. So because of that, get into this habit of studying psychology on regular basis. I think we have covered maybe 6-7 days, another 3 or 4 days, I can't remember exactly. So you can actually, I'm sending you the material, you have the recording access. So if you study, you can go for A plus, B, like that. I want my students to actually get good grades. So that's why I'm actually repeating this almost every day, okay? With that word of kind of motivation, there's a possibility. With what we discuss, if you have studied, you can go for A's and A pluses. And in your transcript, if you see A plus, A and all that, it would be really satisfying. Na? So think of all these outcomes. It's not for 6 months, 1 year that you have to study. No? It's only 10 sessions, maybe 1 month or 1.5 months. Get into that habit of actually doing regular studies and becoming very thorough with the content and all that. So you can just actually, it's a very easy target for you. Okay, it's a very easy target for you. Do that කියන එකයි මම අදහස් කරන්නේ. මොකද මේක හිත ලියන්න බෑ, පාඩම් කරලම තමයි ලියන්න වෙන්නේ. That is it, not like other subjects. That psychology is interesting, but the problem is that though if you don't do regular studies, it's a lot of content. So you can't actually just cram and do. You need time to study. You're lost. එතකොට අමාරුයි. හැබැයි පාඩම් කරගෙන ගියොත් ලස්සනට y'all can go for A pluses and all that, because everything within what we discuss. I guarantee that. Okay. Now coming to the third component. Look at the third component, 9 events of instruction. 9 events of instruction. So according to Gagne, if learning to take place, if effective learning to happen, there should be 9 events taking place in the classroom, in the learning and teaching session. According to Gagne, if learning to take place, if effective learning to take place, if you really want to maximize learning, there should be 9 events taking place in the classroom. They are cognitive psychologists, sensation, perception, attention, remembering, storing, acquiring knowledge, First thing is gaining attention. A teacher who wants your students to learn well, always think of how to gain the attention of the students. Because attention not gained, nothing is passed on to the memory. Okay, for story. So because of nothing is perceived, so a very good teacher will always think of ways of getting the students' attention. So gaining attention is an event that should take place in the classroom if the teacher wants the students to learn. Right? Second one, informing learners of objectives. Informing learners of objectives. Objectives is what they are supposed to learn, do at the end of the day, at the end of the session, at the end of the lesson. What the students will be able to do at the end of the lesson, informing learners of objectives of the lesson. So they should belong to cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. And you all have to tell the students, this is what I want you to learn. Am I dragging?
No, ma'am, it's audible.
All right. So you have to tell your learner, this is what I want you to learn. Now in your lesson plans, you might write at the end of the lesson, you will be able to like that. No, not like that. Suppose it's a grade 2 class. You have to tell your students, I want you to learn 5 names of animals. 5 names of domestic animals. So students have a focus. We discussed that figure ground concept. Then you give them a focus. Students know that I have to actually focus on 5 names of domestic animals. Because there's background also, there's ground. So otherwise students might pay attention to ground, not to the figure. So Gagny is cognitive psychologist. No? So all these concepts you learned in cognition. So second one is inform the learner of objectives. Maybe a grade 2 class, you can tell them, I want you to learn 5 flowers today. They know 5 flowers today. 5, not 6, not 7. It's 5. Then they can know, they know the figure, what they are supposed to learn. So they will actually focus on that. So giving a focus, you actually talk about what they should be able to do at the end of the lesson. That is a very good teacher, a professional teacher who wants to maximize learning. Okay? Do you do all these things when you walk into the classroom? That is the question mark. So a very good professional teacher will think of all these things. Why? Knowing your English, knowing your mathematics, knowing your science, and walking into the classroom to do teaching. Maybe that you're an expert in your subject matter, but if you don't apply these teaching strategies, you can't get them to engage in maximum learning, right? That is the second part there. So මේව පුරුදු කරගන්න ඕගොල්ලෝ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ උගන්නනකොට පන්තියට ලෙසන් එකක් ප්‍රිපෙයාර් වෙලා යනකොට පන්තියට ගිහිල්ලා ඔයා දන්නවා මම අද attention ගන්න මොනවද කරන්න කියලා දන්නවා. අද මම ළමයින්ට කියන්න ඕනේ මම ඒගොල්ලෝ උගන්නන්නේ මොනවද කියලා කියනවා. Today I want you to learn how to form the verb in simple past tense. How to form the verb in simple past tense. Something like that you tell them. Then they know what they are supposed to learn. So you give them a focus. So figure is highlighted. So their attention is paid to that. So ground is second. Right. We go to the third one. Stimulating recall of prior learning. Stimulating recall of prior learning. That is the internal condition. We discuss it conditions of learning. Okay. We discuss it in conditions of learning. Stimulating recall of prior learning. Ask questions to call upon what they already know, which is helpful for them to actually learn the today's learn. So you will actually do a small game, get them to come up and you give them a now simple past tense, verb, regular and irregular. You can give them a set of word cards, all verbs. So you get them to pick a verb and tell the past tense verb to the class and say whether it's regular or irregular. So jump, jumped, regular verb. So they paste that verb in the regular verb column. So sing, sang. So the child picks the verb sing and says it sang, the past tense verb is sang and it's an irregular verb. So recall. Right? So it is also the internal condition. So the third one, you know them. So you all have to actually hereafter think in terms of that. So once you practice it for some time, it becomes a habit of the teacher. And teacher is actually, your lessons are easily understood because facilitation is there for them to engage in learning. So you have strategies to gain attention. You have already told them what they will be able to do at the end of the lesson. They should belong to all the 3 domains, head, heart, and hand, not skills, knowledge, and attitudes. And then you will recall the prior knowledge, internal conditions needed. You will actually make it available by recalling their prior knowledge, which is needed for the subsequent learning today. Is it understood before moving on to the fourth one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Can you read the fourth one, Pita?
Presenting the stimulus, teach the lesson.
Okay. Presenting the stimulus, teach the lesson. That means now you are giving them the today's lesson. Now you are teaching them the today's lesson. Presenting the stimulus, teach the lesson. Then aniteva overlap වෙනවා, right? Providing learner guidance, allow teacher to facilitate student practice. Elicit performance, have learner complete a task on what was taught. උගන්නපු දේ මොන හරි කරන්න ඇක්ටිවිටි එකක් දෙන්න. ඊට පස්සේ බලන්න යාට මේක කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා. Then provide feedback. You're right or wrong. Provide feedback, right? If they are wrong, you have to actually get them to correct it. And then assessing performance. Yes, you have got 7 out of 10. All your answers are correct. It may be verbal. You're good. You have got it. You're giving them the feedback. And then you assess. You have learned everything. You have learned 80% of what I taught. Like that, you have to assess your learning. And 9th one, enhancing retention and transfer. That give them more activities to minimize forgetting, to maximize transfer to the long-term memory. You have to give them a lot of practice activities, rehearse. We discuss them in cognition because Gagne's information processing theory is a theory from cognitivism. So our internal mental capacities matter. So all these 9 events, they are overlapping, okay? They should take place in the classroom for the learner to engage in maximum learning. So you have to make sure that these things happen in the class if you really want to facilitate learning. So with that, I think you got a lot of insights from Gagne's information theory of learning, but I will repeat, okay? Do you want a summary?
Yes, ma'am, that's better.
Right. You want a summary or you understood?
Want, madam.
Understood, but if you can give a summary, madam.
Better, okay. Now here we discuss Gagne's the name of the psychologist. He belongs to cognitive school of thought. So cognitive school of thought means our internal mental capacities are important in our behaviors or learning. So we have already learned what our internal mental capacities are. The cognitive process is starting from sensation, then perception, attention, memory, all there. Okay. So Gagne proposes this information processing theory of learning. According to Gagne, right, our learning can be compared to a kind of computer. How the computer processes information. Similarly, we also processes information in our mind, according to Gagne, when learning happens, right? To discuss that, Gagne actually talk about how our mind works, how our memory works, information processing model. The 5 senses, there are stimuli, attention is paid, they enter the sensory memory, attention paid, they go to the short-term or working memory, and then practice and rehearse, they go to the long-term memory. The capacity and the duration also discussed, it's already discussed by us in the cognition. So this is what actually Gagne believes in when it comes to learning, because he's a cognitive psychologist. Okay, based on this, we'll actually look at the 3 components of Gagne's information processing theory. The 3 components are the taxonomy of learning outcomes, conditions of learning, and 9 events of instruction. So the taxonomy of learning outcomes means what will the learner be able to do at the end of the lesson. So they should belong to 3 domains, 3 areas. They are cognitive domain, referred to as knowledge related, head related. Affective domain, attitudes or heart related. Psychomotor domain, skills or hand related. Okay. Now, for example, if you teach an English lesson, it's a reading passage on text. So the cognitive domain will be they scan for information. They scan for information. They read and comprehend using the strategy of scanning. That is cognitive domain. And they learn how to look after a pet 10 ways, right? That is also cognitive domain. But you will talk to them if you are rearing pets. You have to actually look after them. Animals also have rights. They should be treated properly. That is attitudes, no? You actually bring about a change in their attitudes towards pets, right? You should not cage them. They should live freely. Freedom is needed, like that. Attitudes also given. Not only that, you have to go to the psychomotor domain. That is hand-related skills. So you might ask them to actually do a poster. The title or the topic of the poster is looking after pets, and draw some pictures and prepare a notice to put up in the notice. That is psychomotor domain. So your English lesson was on pets, that is to read using the strategy of scanning and to know how to actually look after pets. That is cognitive domain. But you bring in a change in their attitudes. I should not keep him always in the kennel. I have to actually give him regular baths. I have to make sure that he actually have time to play. Freedom is there. He has right, it has rights. Their attitudes you have given. And psychomotor, you get them to put up a poster, or you ask them to go home and actually make a kennel for the dog or something like that. So it's psychomotor. So your lesson has all the three domains catered to. That is the taxonomy of learning outcomes. At the end of the lesson, what the students should be able to do. It should belong to three domains. Okay, not only cognitive. But in the class, we always focus on cognitive domain. We neglect affective and psychomotor domains. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, madam.
Then conditions of learning. They are, according to Gagny, for learning to happen, for effective learning to take place, there should be two conditions fulfilled. External conditions and internal conditions. We always think of external conditions, but we hardly think of internal conditions, like the prior knowledge, prior learning that is helpful in understanding the today's learning. If you don't recall it, if you don't consider that, so the students actually do not know that, which is previously taught and learned, they have forgotten, then they can't actually learn the today's lesson. So because of that, you always have to think in terms of this prior learning needed, and you have to recall it by taking 5 minutes or giving them a small activity or a field task and all that. Then they are fresh in mind, and they can make use of that knowledge and engage in today's new learning in a better manner. So make sure that you do so in each and every lesson. Then according to Gagny, the third component, the learning to be maximized, there should be 9 events taking place in the class, in your teaching learning session. So they are cognitive psychologists. So gaining attention is important. You know why? Otherwise they are lost. They are not put into the short-term and long-term. And then information learners of objectives. You have to tell the learner in very simple words what they are supposed to learn. Because otherwise they will not pay attention to figure, but to the ground. We have learned figure ground in cognition. Then stimulating, recalling prior learning, that is actually internal conditions that we just now learned. Presenting the stimulus, teaching the today's lesson. And you teach the today's lesson, you have to give them activities and get them to do that. And you are a facilitator, you have to provide guidance, and you have to get them to actually show their performance. Activities are done, you're marking them, you ask questions, they are answering to you, and then you give them feedback. Yes, you are correct, you have to add another point, like that. And then you assess, you have learned 9 out of 10, you have learned 7 out of 5, 10, like that. And then you have to give them activities for the retention and transfer of information to the long-term memory. So homework, then you can minimize forgetting, right? So this is actually Gagny's information processing theory, which is from cognitive psychology. Cognition is, the cognitive process is the importance in learning. So based on that only, this theory has been formulated. There are 3 main components that you have to think of. Is it clear to you or it's not clear to you? I first want to check with you all. I went on talking. I want to ask you whether you
Clear, madam.
Yeah, madam.
understood.
Yeah, madam.
Right. Yeah. Very good. Now I have to give you a small activity to do by Wednesday. Are you ready to take up the challenge?
Understood, ma'am.
Yeah, it's not an assignment, but classroom activity for the next day. Right? Assignment academy, classroom activity. ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහන් ඉන්නවා එමනේ. ගෙදර ගිහිල්ලා හොඳට ගැග්නිව කියවන්න. I will be sending you the materials. I see Fatima Risna's name first on top. Fatima, are you there? Fatima, are you there? Right. Gishani.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm in there.
This is Fatima then. Who spoke? Fatima or Gishani today?
Fatima, ma'am.
Fatima. Fatima, I want you to next day come and talk about learning outcomes by here learning outcomes by Gagny. Taxonomy of learning outcomes by Gagny. It's only 1 minute. Can you do that?
Yeah, ma'am, I can.
Next day, right? Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Next day you come prepared. Gini wage denno ne. Very fluent. You're prepared. Only 1 minute. You're going to talk about taxonomy of learning outcomes by Gagny. Okay? Gishani, are you there?
Yes, madam.
Right. I give you conditions of learning. 1 minute. Not more than 1 minute. Okay? But you're
Okay,
very
ma'am.
fluently present talking. Right? Talking only. No need of PowerPoint or anything. You tell
Okay, madam.
conditions of learning.
no, madam.
Very good. 1 minute, right? You can't exit 1 minute.
Okay, madam. My topic.
Vidanagam.
Sorry, madam.
Sorry?
My topic is conditions of learning, no, madam.
Yeah, Gisha.
Okay, madam. Okay, madam. Thank you.
Then,
Okay, ma'am.
Vidanagi, KWMD Vidanage,
Yes, ma'am.
I give you the 9 events of instructions.
Okay, ma'am.
Right. So, is Channa there? No, Channa is not there. Who would like to talk about the model? It is twice discussed. Information processing model. Who would like to talk about it? Nilupuli? Nilupuli?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk about the information processing model?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Then I see Salma. Salma, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Salma, your topic is once again taxonomy of learning outcomes by Gagny. Can you?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Then I see Sanji. Sanji, are you there? Sanji, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Tell me, madam.
No.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Yeah. Can I give you conditions of learning? 1 minute. Next day you have to come and talk.
Condition of?
Conditions of learning. Ab kapa kare de?
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I will do my
Shara,
best, madam.
Yeah, Shara, did I give you a topic?
No, ma'am.
9 events of instructions.
Okay, ma'am. I do.
Are you okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So who is Situmi? Did I give you?
No, ma'am.
Situmi and Sulochana, I will give you a topic from the next topic that I cover. Okay? We have another topic for the day. Those who have not been given a topic, I will give it from the second topic for the day. Once I'm done with that, I will give you the parts of that. It's only 1 minute. You have to be thorough in that part. Come and wedi wage kiyanna one very clearly. You have to practice it and do. Will you do that? Because it's not only subject matter, no? You all have to actually develop your skills in explaining, in doing self-study, and being prepared to talk in 1 minute, but you're giving the maxim, you're very fluent. ඒව ඔක්කොම හදාගන්නත් එක හදිස්සියෙන් අපි හිතමු you were busy, you couldn't do that කියලා. Don't cut the class, please come and tell me I couldn't. Okay, it's all right. Okay. For the rest of the people, I will give you a topic once I'm done with the second topic for the day. Now, the second topic for the day, I'm showing you. Give me a second. Right. Wait. Here. This is the one. I'm opening. Can you see this? But I'm sharing.
Not yet, ma'am.
No. Do I have to share it again? Let's see. Right. Can you see this now?
Okay,
Yes,
madam, can see.
Right. So this is learning once again. When it comes to learning, you know, you have to know your learner first. If you really want to actually maximize learning in your class, you have to know your learner in order to maximize learning in the class. That's the idea. You have to know your learner. Right. Knowing your learner. What is it? Is it about his personal life? No. It's about his intelligence. What is it? It's
Madam,
about his
excuse me, madam.
intelligence. Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you repeat it, madam? Because I couldn't hear dragging, madam. The voice is
Right. I will repeat. Okay. See whether you actually can hear me now properly.
okay, madam.
Right. Now I repeat. Now we are going to look at, you can make notes, multiple intelligence theory. What is the name of the theory? Multiple intelligence theory. By whom? You might have learned this. By whom? Howard Gardner. Multiple intelligence theory by Howard Gardner. Multiple, M-U-L-T-I-P-L-E. Multiple intelligence. You can write intelligence. By Howard Gardner. You say Gardner, G-A-R-D-N-E-R. Okay, from the Harvard University in 1980s, right? So according to this, we are looking at it. We are looking at multiple intelligence theory by Howard Gardner. Why? If you want to maximize learning in the class, because our topic is learning, right? If you want to maximize learning in the class, you have to know your learner's intelligence. You have to have an understanding about your learner's intelligence. So as a teacher, if you know your learner, right, what are their intelligences? So you can actually cater to their intelligences and get them to learn more and better and in a very effective way. So how do you come to know about the learner's intelligence? We have insights from Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. It is actually proposed in 1980s, frames of mind, okay? So according to Howard Gardner, we individuals
Madam, can
have
you tell the names of that format garden, please?
name of the Howard Gardner.
Yeah, spellings, please.
H-O-W-A Howard, R-D, Howard. Gardner, Gardner. Howard Gardner. Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Right. So multiple intelligence theory. According to Howard Gardner, we have initially he proposed 7 and now they talk about 8 intelligences. How many types of intelligences? 8
8.
types of intelligences. We all have, your students also have 8 types of intelligences according to MI theory. බහුවිධි බුද්ධි න්‍යාය කියලා තමයි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ. Multiple intelligence theory. We have 8 types of intelligences. What are the 8 types of intelligences? We will name them first. We'll start with this, okay? Logical, mathematical. Logical, mathematical intelligence. Number 1. You can't say it's in order, but it's very common intelligence. Now, we all think of this logical, mathematical intelligence. Then you know interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal. Then you know intrapersonal intelligence. Linguistic intelligence. Spatial intelligence. Naturalist intelligence. Musical intelligence, and bodily kinesthetic intelligence. I repeat, logical, mathematical, linguistic or verbal, verbal linguistic, bodily kinesthetic, then musical, spatial intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, and naturalist intelligence. There are 8 types of intelligences in us. You and I, both of us, or your students, everyone has this 8 type of intelligences in us. But there are some dominant intelligences. There are some not so dominant intelligences in us. So what do they mean? We will first look at them. We'll start with logical mathematical intelligence, because always we think, he is intelligent, he is good at mathematics and logical thinking, no? But there are others also according to multiple intelligence theory by Howard Gardner, right? So logical mathematical means quantifying things, making hypotheses and proving them. They are good at numbers, they are good in mathematics, they are good in logical thinking, they are good in problem solving, they are good in kind of IQ tests. Right? Logical, mathematical, right? That is one intelligence we have. So linguistic intelligence means finding the right words to express what you mean. That means we are good in languages, speaking, giving speeches, verbal, we are good in writing, verbal and linguistics. It is language related intelligence. So if you take the past, before multiple intelligence, we thought if you're good in maths, if you're good in language, you are intelligent. The others are not intelligent. But now it's not the thinking, right? Some are good in mathematics, some are good in language, logical, mathematical, and linguist. And apart from that, there are 6 others as well, and they are also intelligent, right? In their own ways. So what are the others? Third one, bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence means coordinating your mind with your body. They are good in playing the piano. They are good in sports, cricket, karate, then physical activities, dancing, because body and mind work together. Not everyone is good at that, okay? They dance beautifully to the rhythm, and they actually they play cricket, hand, eye coordination, like that. They are bodily kinesthetic. They are also very intelligent in that way. That is their strength when it's come to intelligence, okay? But those days we did not think, if he's good in dancing, he's intelligent. If he's good in karate, we never thought that he's intelligent. But now that is also a component of intelligence. All are not good in them, right? Okay, then we look at musical intelligence. Musical intelligence means discerning sounds, their pitch, tone, rhythm, and blah, blah. So they are good in singing, they are good in clapping, they are good in rhythms, they have a natural ear for music, they sing to the pitch. That is also a very special intelligence. It's not that every one of us are intelligent that way, no? But somehow now you can see on TV, 2-year child comes and sings beautifully. He has not learned anything, but that is, he's born very intelligent. He is very strong in musical intelligence, right? So without any learning, he performs because he's that strong in musical intelligence. Okay. So then you go to interpersonal, spatial intelligence. You know, picture smart, bodily kinesthetic, body smart. Okay. You know, music smart. Spatial intelligence, picture smart. That means visualizing the world in 3D. They are very good in visualization. Maps, directions, driving. They are very good in driving. Now, I actually am very low in my spatial intelligence because I am not good at my driving. Okay. Because space, sizes, directions, they are difficult for me. But there are very smart ones. They are very strong in their spatial intelligence. Okay? Maps and directions and pictures and visualizations. Then you can go to interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence means you are very good in maintaining rapport with others, relationships with others, sensing people's feelings and motives. You are a very good friend. You are a team player. You are very helpful and outgoing. That is also an intelligence. You are very empathetic. You make friends very easily. So you have that interpersonal intelligence. That is why you can easily actually deal with others, get on with others, right? And you are very popular among others because you have that interpersonal intelligence. You can easily relate to others and understand others. Then intrapersonal intelligence. Here I show you this one. Intrapersonal intelligence. Intrapersonal intelligence means understand thyself, oneself, how you feel, what you want, and you're very happy in reflecting on your own self. And you know very well who you are if you are intrapersonal intelligent one. So, kind of like saints, like Hamuduruvaru, Buddha maybe, they are actually very intelligent in this intrapersonal intelligence. Why? They are very strong in that. Why? They understand themselves. They know who they are. They reflect on their own experiences. And they are good thinkers. They are reflective people. So they have their own character.
They have
very
physical
strong character.
powers. They have physical powers.
Can you repeat, Buddha? Can you repeat?
Yeah, madam, they have some references. They have
Definitely,
physical
yes.
powers. No?
Yeah, that is it. They are very strong in that intelligence. They actually, yes, you're correct. No, they can see future forecasts. No, they can see their past birth because they are that strong, very in that intelligence. You're correct there.
When they get higher meditation, when they have higher meditation, they can take
definitely yes.
Yeah.
So that is also an intelligence. Not every one of us are smart in that. Okay, it's intrapersonal. So in your class also you have students like that. they can actually, they are very good in their imagination. So they can actually name, think and write a lot of things, literature, short stories, novels. They are intrapersonal, very reflective. So they think a lot and they actually write. Then naturalist intelligence. Naturalist intelligence means understanding living things and reading nature. They easily actually cater to the natural environment. They are actually animal lovers. They actually get into horticulture. They have that natural ability to understand what happens in nature. Maybe they are astronauts, or maybe they are actually horticulturists. They are animal lovers. They are zookeepers. They are farmers because they easily relate to the environment, natural world, because they have something very, they have the knack to understand, knack for it, understanding and relating to the natural environment. So in your classroom also, you don't have to think. Those who are intelligent, it's only mathematics and linguistic or verbal. No. Those who are good in language, those who are good in mathematics, only good people. No, there are others. They have their own intelligences, which is very rare. And they are also intelligent. So accordingly, so you have to know, suppose now somebody is good in, because we have all these 8 intelligences, we are strong in some intelligences, we are not so strong in the other intelligences. So in the classroom, you have to actually stimulate all the 8 intelligences. Then we will actually improve that intelligence, develop it, increase our intelligence. Okay. Now in your class, there should be the opportunity for the students to actually develop their intelligences. So, and when you actually have a mixture or a blend of all these intelligences catered to, everyone is learning happily also. Now, suppose you're an English teacher. So you're teaching a class of 40. So if you actually go on getting them to read the textbook and write answers, that is what happens in the class. You are catering only to linguistic intelligence, right? That is bad. You have to know there are others, those who are strong in other intelligence. So your lesson is about pets, right? Maybe your lesson is about trees. So what you do is you play a song which is about trees. It's a song about trees. So you're catering to musical intelligence, you're catering to natural intelligence in the class. Now they are motivated, they are happy, they are ready to learn, right? And at the same time, you can actually get them to do actions, right? According to the song, bodily kinesthetic. Bodily kinesthetic. You get them to, it's an action song. So they actually act then accordingly. So you're catering to bodily kinesthetic as well, right? And then after that, you get them to recite it. Linguistic intelligence is also their verbal intelligence. And you get them to do group work, pair work in the class. You are actually catering to the interpersonal intelligence in the class. They will be very happy to, right? Teacher, by getting them to do that, you get them to work in groups. You're catering to that intelligence in the class, interpersonal. And you give them homework, right? You go home and write your feelings about nature, 5 lines. Your feelings about nature after listening to the song on trees. You get them to reflect on what they are actually. So you're catering to intrapersonal intelligence. If they are not so strong, they are developing. If they are strong, they are like doing the activity. So that is the 21st century classroom. All these intelligences are catered to. Some are strong, they are very happy to learn. The others are not strong in that intelligence, they will be developing that intelligence. And it's a blend classroom. All the intelligences are catered to. You got my point?
Yes, madam.
Right. Now, can you think of a lesson where you are not supposed to cater to all the 8 intelligences? That is not possible, right? You are not supposed to cater to all the 8 intelligences. That is not possible. At least 5 of them in one lesson. That is actually very much needed. So those who are strong, they are very happily learning. So those who are not so strong, they are developing. So next day you change it, not the same intelligences you're catering. So in almost every lesson, logical, mathematical, and linguistics is there. That is because you get them to learn by reading and thinking and all that. But the rest, you can select 2 or 3 and then accordingly get them to work. So is there a kind of insight for the teacher in how to organize your classroom teaching and learning and activities? Is there a kind of understanding that you got that you have to actually do something like this in the class, plan lessons accordingly and all that?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Anyway, that we have been doing that because our textbooks are full of activities like that, no? The textbooks ask you to put up a poster, do a role play, and all that. So that is to get them to actually engage me. That is to cater to their intelligences. But you have to know why you are doing that. No? Now you know why we are doing that, and we should actually select different types of activities. Then actually we can actually have a mix intelligences catered to. So that is why we are doing like that. So you can't say those who are good in mathematics only are intelligent. No, gone are the days that you say like that. Okay, right. With that, I get you to look at did I send you this activity?
Which one, madam?
Did you? Yes, the questions on learning, did you get?
Sorry.
Did you receive this? Did I send it to you? No.
No.
No, madam.
Piaget ගැන question bank එකක් කිව්වද ඔයාලට?
Just I think today send no, madam. There's one.
Sorry?
But we couldn't see.
Sorry?
Question bank sent today. I think it's about 7:10 like that today. Is that? We couldn't check actually, madam, that one.
It's on guest tool
Okay.
use. ma'am.
Sorry?
They send
It's
one
on
question.
cognition. It's on cognition that you receive. It's on Piaget or cognition. Have you gone through that? Did you write answers? So I'll be sending this also. This is on learning. So you can study what you have done and then do this activity. Okay, I'm giving you all the help. It's up to you to actually do. So today I'm sending this. You can actually study the material on learning and try this. Okay. So I'm going to actually get you to look at this as well.
Excuse me, ma'am.
What is the topic? It's not shared. Okay. Learning
Hello, madam.
styles.
Hello.
Now, is it shared? Is it shared?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, new page.
This is the last topic for the day. Okay. It's learning styles, and we finish our topic also learning. With that, we discuss a whole lot on learning. Yeah, you have to study because it's pedagogical psychology. So learning is very important. Pedagogy is the science of teaching, no? Art of teaching. So learning matters. So it's learning psychology. So we discuss a lot on learning. So this is one last topic on learning. This is learning styles. What is meant by learning styles? Can one of you read the first paragraph? Can you read the first paragraph?
Learning styles. Learning styles are a popular concept in psychology and education and are intended to identify how people learn best. VARK learning styles suggest that there are 4 main types of learners: visual, auditory, reading or writing, and kinesthetic.
Very good. So learning styles, thank you. Learning styles means how individuals learn best. As a teacher, you have to know your students. I told you, you have to know their multiple intelligences. What are they strong in? What are they not so strong in? You have to know. For that, if you can search internet, there are ample surveys. Do you know about yourself? You're still learning. What are your intelligences? What are you strong in? What are you not so strong in? Do you know? There are actually age-appropriate surveys available in actually Western countries. They get the teacher to run that test and know the child, what the child's intelligences are. But here we don't do, right? But you're an enthusiastic teacher. You can use a questionnaire like that. You can adapt to suit to our context, and you can actually give it to the students. And once you get the new set of students, you know, this child is very intelligent in these. He's picture smart. He's body smart. He's like that. You can actually know each and every child. That is knowing your children, knowing your learner. Similarly, you have to know what their learning styles are. How will they learn best? What kind of a learning style? What kind of a learner is he or she is? That as a teacher, you should know. Then only that you can cater to their needs. So according to this classification by Neil Flemings, okay, we can identify 4 main types of learning styles in the class. How many types? 4 main types.
4 main types.
The acronym is WAG. WAG. Acronym. It stands for the 4 types. V for visual learn. V for visual learn. A for auditory learn. R for reading and writing learn. K for kinesthetic learn. So if you look at your class, you know your students, you know his main method of learning is he learns best by listening, auditory learn. This student learns best by reading and writing. This particular student will learn best by engaging in physical activities, right? As a teacher, you should have that understanding. You should know their learning style, whether they are visual learners, auditory learners, reading, writing learners, or kinesthetic learners. Now, if you all are practicing teachers, do you know that? Do you know that? Right? Okay. Then we'll see more about them. Right. Within a self-report inventory, you can run it and see if you want. Visual learners look at pictures of people performing the skill. Now, Now here the example I have given, okay? Imagine that you are learning how to perform a new physical skill, such as riding a bike or dancing a certain style of dance. Now, suppose you want to learn to dance. So according to the learning style, that you will actually learn it in a different way. If you are a visual learner, you will look at pictures of the people performing the skill, right? If you are a visual learner, you will look at pictures and try to learn it. If you are an auditory learner, listen to an expert explaining how to do the task. Maybe teacher explaining it and he listens and learns, right? If you are a reading writing learner, you will read about how to perform the task in a book. You will read about it. For example, now I'm referring to 30 years back. I learned chess by reading a book because I'm reading writing, my learning style, okay? If you are a kinesthetic learner, you will watch someone else perform the skill and then trying it yourself. You will try it yourself and learn. So the same thing, different types of learners will learn it in a different way. That is their preferences. So more about visual learners. Can you read about visual learners? Quickly.
Visual
Can you
learners.
learn? Yeah.
Visual learners
Please.
learn best by seeing. Graphic displays such as charts, diagrams, illustrations, handouts, and videos are all helpful learning tools for visual learners. Visual learners prefer this type of learning, would rather see information presented in a visual rather than in written form. Shall I continue, ma'am?
Continue.
Do you think you might be a visual learner? Then consider the following questions. Are art, beauty, and aesthetics important to you? Does visualizing information in your mind help you remember it better? Do you have to see information in order to remember it? Do you pay close attention to body language? If you can answer yes to most of these questions,
Oral learner or auditory learner. No, come to this oral learner or auditory learner. Three.
oral learners.
Oral or auditory learner.
Okay, ma'am. Oral or auditory learners learn best by hearing information. They tend to get a great deal out of lectures and are good at remembering things they are told. Are you an auditory learner? Consider the following questions. Do you create songs to help remember information? Does reading out loud help you remember information better? Do you prefer to listen to class lectures rather than reading from textbook? Would you prefer to listen to a recording of your class lectures or a podcast rather than going over your class notes?
Right, okay. So that is auditory learner. So some of your students will learn best when actually the teacher explains things and all that, okay? But not every one of them. It all depends on their learning style. So next one, reading and writing learner. Can you read?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Reading and writing learners. Reading and writing learners prefer to take in information that is displayed as words and text. Could you be a reading and writing learner? Read through the following questions and think about whether they might apply to you. Do you enjoy making lists, reading definitions, and creating presentations? Do you find reading your textbook to be a great way to learn new information? Do you take a lot of notes during class, and while reading textbooks, do you prefer it when teachers make use of overheads and handouts?
That's enough. Now the kinesthetic or kinesthetic learner.
Kinesthetic or tactile learners learn best by touching and doing. Hands-on experience is important for kinesthetic learners. Not sure if you're a kinesthetic learner? Answer these questions to find out. Are you good at applied activities such as painting, cooking, mechanics, sports, and woodworking? Do you enjoy performing tasks that involve directly manipulating objects and materials? Do you have to actually practice doing something in order to learn it? Is it difficult for you to sit still for long periods of time?
There are some students like that. No, they don't want to be seated. They want to actually walk and do things and all that. So now you look at your class, if you're a practicing teacher. Now think of the 40 or 35 or 50 odd students in the class. Can you actually identify them as kinesthetic learners, auditory learners, reading, writing learners, or visual learners? If you have that understanding only, that you can actually be a better teacher to maximize learning. If you lack that understanding, what are their intelligences? What are their learning styles? How can you actually cater to the individual differences and make it a kind of a very enjoyable activity, learning an enjoyable activity? Because if you don't cater to their needs and their strengths, you can't make it a happy experience for them. So the thing is, that is very unfortunate. The student-teacher ratio in a class when you have 50 students, it's a difficulty for the teacher. But in European context, the best of education is given. The student ratio is 1 to 50. Maximum 15 students in a class. Then, of course, the teacher can actually pay attention to all that and accordingly develop their lessons and conduct them. But now when we have 40 lengthy lessons, lengthy syllabuses to cover, packed classrooms and all that, and the teachers are also given 7 periods out of the 8, it's actually does not happen. But I ask you, when it is possible, you take some interest and try to actually figure these out. And though not in each and every lesson, at least when you can try to actually make activities to actually cater to their intelligences and learning styles. That is the advice that I can give you. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Right. Now I couldn't give some topics to some of you. Who didn't get a topic? Can you actually speak?
I'm Sulochana, madam.
Sulochana, I get you to talk about the MI theory. Can you be prepared? Maximum 1 or 2 minutes, not more than that. Okay. So you have to be very well prepared. So you can make maximum use of your time and go on talking, giving maximum content in the 1 or 2 minutes that you speak. Sulochana gets MI theory. Who else is there?
Madam, I also didn't get, ma'am.
Madam, hello.
That is
Madam
Channa.
Channa.
Hello, madam.
Channa.
I couldn't hear, madam, the topic.
I can't hear you, Puta. Can you speak up?
That's why, madam, I also couldn't hear the topic, madam. It's dragging. That's why. My topic.
Sulochana.
Madam, I'm Sulochana.
Did I give you a topic, Sulochana?
I couldn't hear, madam.
I see. Then can you talk about, you also can talk about MI theory, the multiple intelligences.
Okay, madam. Okay. Multiple.
And Channa, can you
Ma'am, what
talk
should I
about, you
talk?
were there
Yeah.
all throughout?
Yeah, I'm here, ma'am.
No, you were listening to our main discussion all throughout.
I was listening as I.
Yeah, can I give you,
That's why, ma'am, not everything clear.
9 events of instructions?
What is the, ma'am, topic once again?
9 events of instructions by Gagme.
9 events of instruction by
Instructions. Today, that is what we discussed today. I didn't see you in the class. Maybe you lost connection. 9 events of instruction. Anyway, you
Yeah,
have
ma'am.
access to the reading material and the recording now? If it is difficult, I
Yes,
can give
yes,
you
ma'am.
learning styles.
Yeah, I have access, ma'am. I think they will upload today or tomorrow, so I can get.
All right, okay. So then anybody else?
Ma'am, I'm Situmi. I didn't get the topic.
Yes, Situmi, can I give you learning styles?
Okay, madam.
Right. Are there others? Gishani, did you get a topic?
Yes, madam, I got.
You all got, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Now, you have only, you have Poya also. So you're free. So I think it's really good, Buddha. You take your part. It's a very small topic. It's only 1 to 2 minutes that you have to speak to. So we are very well prepared. You're not struggling at all. You're thorough with what you're going to talk about. So you don't have a lot of fillers and all that wasting time. You're using maximum use of your time, and you're very fluent because you have practiced, right? You're very fluent because you have practiced and come and present. Then it's a recall of today's lesson before we move on to and this is the end of the topic learning. So under learning, we discuss a lot of things, right? We discuss what learning is by looking at Woolfolk's definition. Then we discuss behavioral learning theories, Ivan Pavlov's classical conditioning, B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning, and Thorndike's laws of learning, right? And then we discuss Bandura and Vygotsky as socio-cultural learning theories. Today we discuss Gagne's cognitive learning theory. And then we looked at multiple intelligences and learning styles in order to cater to individual learning needs in the class. So that is what we covered under learning in pedagogical psychology. So with that we come to the end of, we actually come to the end of this unit. So my new topic, I will let you know. But next day you come prepared to talk about what we discussed today, 1 or 2 minutes. But you're giving your best, you're very fluent because you have practiced and you're making maximum use of time and you do that, right? But I have a word of actually advice also. If you can't get prepared, so you don't have to think, should not attend the class, but still you can come and excuse, right? But try your level best to do your best. Okay, with that, can I say goodbye?
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Goodbye,
It's a
madam.
good night, every one of you.
Goodbye, ma'am.
Good night,
Ma'am.
madam.
Bye,
Goodbye.
good night, and study,
Good night.
study, study. My mantra, study, study, study. Okay,
Okay, madam.
right.
Good night, ma'am.
Good
Thank you,
night,
madam.
good night. Right.
Thank you,
Please
madam.
study.